In this course, I'm going to walk you through a system called Fiverr. If you're not familiar with Fiverr by now, basically what it is it's a website where you can go buy and sell services for just $5. Pretty much everything on the site starts at $5, and you can actually also upsell other products for additional fees. So to give an example, let's say you decide to sell a logo, a graphic design. You could sell the basic design for $5, and you could upsell someone maybe the actual PSD editable version of that logo for another $20 or $30. So you can actually make quite a bit of money utilizing this platform if you have some skills you're willing to go out there and share. Generally in this course, I'm going to walk you through a lot of the basics of Fiverr, and I'm also going to show you some really easy to fulfill gigs that I use for myself. So if you're someone that's already familiar with Fiverr, you could probably skip through a lot of the how-to stuff, but you may find some of my videos on some of the gigs that I use. I pretty much only do gigs that take me less than basically like 3 to 5 minutes to complete. So I can make a lot of profit very, very quickly. I don't have to spend a lot of time since you're really only earning about $4 for every $5 gig you fulfill. Fiverr takes about $1 for every single order you fulfill. So I'm going to walk you through pretty much all the basics of Fiverr, and I'm also going to show you some of my own unique gigs, things that I've done and have worked successfully for me. I'm going to show you my income proof. I've made a little over $3,000 on Fiverr since I got started there a couple of years ago. And yeah, just look forward to the course. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, send me a message, or start a discussion. I'll be happy to help you out. Okay, so if you've been living under a rock for a little while and you do not know what Fiverr is, I wanted to walk you through the platform and show you a little bit about what to expect. I know there's tons and tons of courses already out there on Fiverr, and I just figured I'd make one myself, mostly because I have a few gigs that I do that I feel just sort of stand out. They're very easy to fulfill, and you could kind of maybe get some of your own creative ideas. But first off, I'm really just going to go through all the basics of Fiverr, just run you down through everything you need to know. So here I'm on the home page. Basically what you have is there's a lot of gigs is what they call them. Basically gigs are what people are selling. A gig is like the basic order fulfillment piece that someone's going to be selling you. So here you could get a lot of SEO gigs I've got here, website content, unique content. I'll update your content design. I'll create a professional quality video presentation. This guy's gonna play a guitar for you. You pretty much got anything you could possibly imagine here. I generally like to, mostly go for selling things that are really easy to fulfill. I don't want to get on a video and go sing a song and all this stuff for $5. That just, in my opinion, takes way too long. Granted, I'm sure some of these things, if you got pretty good at them, you could fulfill them very quickly. But I generally use this system as a way to utilize some of the other things that I'm already selling and maybe just get more traction to those things. So I'll be showing you that in some upcoming videos. But generally across the top, you have all different kinds of topics. You got graphics and design, digital marketing, writing, video, animation, music and audio, programming, advertising, business, lifestyle, gifts. There's even a bizarre category. There's some interesting stuff in there. And then there's an other category. You can also post custom requests, which I'll talk about a little bit later, but I'll just give you an overview. So let's take a look at one of these gigs. We'll do this unique medical content one. Essentially what you have is a thumbnail. You put this into a specific category. You can see how many reviews the gig has, how many orders they currently have. You can buy the basic gig or get specific upsells, like maybe get it delivered extra fast, add extra words. Apparently they offer some extra references. You can see a little bit of info about the seller. There's levels, which we'll talk about a little bit later as we go through this. They've got a little bit of a bio, so you can read more about them. And then they have a gig description, and usually they try to utilize this in such a way that it's built out. It stands out. It's got some highlighting, some bolding. They've clearly put some time into this, and then you can go down and read some of the reviews, see what's going on, and clearly this is someone that's doing a really good job with this particular gig. So if I wanted to get some content written for my website, this might not be a bad way to do it. I've used Fiverr many times, there's actually some really great writers here. So if you can find the right one, then you're probably going to have a lot of success, outsourcing some of this stuff here on Fiverr. So in the next upcoming videos, I'm going to walk you through really how to get started as a seller. That's ideally what you should really be doing if you're going to start making some money here.
Interview take 2.
Okay, so before we really start getting into actually setting up gigs on Fiverr and going through things, I did just want to show you that I have earned a decent amount of money on the system. I've been on here now, oh geez, I don't know if it actually tells me. Yeah, it does. So I've been on here for about 4 years. At one point, I was fulfilling a lot more gigs and spending way more time on the system than I do now. I mostly just have stuff up here now that I very occasionally get gig orders. But you can see I've earned just about $3,500. I have spent also quite a bit of money here, but generally I'm probably earning somewhere in the realm of like 20 to 30 bucks a month right now, just because I'm not super active on the platform. I don't focus a ton of my time on it, but there are definitely opportunities here if you decide to really get some good gigs out there and spend a lot of time. I mean, I know for a fact there are people that just use this as their sole source of income. On average, I do get a lot of positive ratings. You can see I've gotten a couple negative. Overall, almost 400 positive. Generally respond within 12 hours, and I've completed my profile. You can also see some other things, like I've got 9 active gigs. You can have up to 20 last I checked. And you can see some areas where I've gotten gig orders, 32% of the world. 29 sales in Australia, 2 in Russia, 1 in China. So there's people all over the world that have ordered my gigs. So that's one really cool thing that you can sort of track within Fiverr. So I just wanted to show you this as a means to, it's very possible to make some extra side income with this platform. And if you get serious about it, you can do, you could even be doing $3,000 a month if you had enough gigs going and you were just fulfilling orders all day long. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to assume by this point, you've taken a few minutes. If you haven't, just go back and register for your own account. I will actually leave a link in the course where you can go sign up, and we actually both get $5 for signing up. So that'll be a little bit of an advantage for you. You could actually try ordering your first gig and, kind of familiarizing yourself with the Fiverr system. But in this video, what I'm going to do is actually show you how you would go create your first gig. If you go up to your profile here up at the top right, you'll have your main dashboard. You've got buying, selling, and then requests. So under buying, this is basically where you would buy anything, any orders you currently have, payments, stats on any of the stuff you purchased. And then selling, this is where you're going to be spending most of the time if you're actually selling gigs. So all we have to do is go to create a gig. And you basically have a step-by-step setup here. I'm going to go through and just do something super simple as an example. Everything always starts with I will, and they give you an example, do something I'm good at. So I'm just going to use the writing article. I will write a 500-word article. Now you can see they'll give you this just perfect. If you were to go too long, like let's say and blah blah blah. Eventually, if you go too far, let me see if I copy and paste this. You can make it pretty long, but eventually they'll say your gig title's a little bit too long and short titles sell more. So you can go up to 80 characters, but generally something that's just really simple like that is going to be the most effective. It doesn't have to be super long. They're giving me some suggested categories, so this is going to be important. We can do articles and blog posts. That probably makes sense. And they know that now I'm writing articles, so they're going to give me a few more options here. Maybe I write in a specific language, so I could pick that. I'm going to do English, and then we can put some tags in here. So we could do like blog post, writing, essay writing, business writing, content writing. Let's do that. We could do essay writing, that's fine. And you have a minimum of 3 tags, so you have to have at least 3, and the maximum 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are definitely going to be important in terms of how people find you. And as you can see, those are common ones. So we'll stick with that, and we'll say save and continue. And this is going to bring us next to our pricing. From here, you basically have different packages that you can enable. You could choose not to do this if you want. You don't have to. But here you could see I'm just going to do a basic one. These are what's called upsells. So let's say I wanted to make my basic package the 500 words, and the standard one, let's call it like 700 words, and then the premium could be like 1,000 words. So that might be a good way to do it. You can add in extra things. So you could say, I need an extra 2 days to do this one. I need an extra day to do this one. And this one, I do it within, let's say normally 3 days, 4 days, and this one you could make like 6 days, give you a little bit more time. You can choose whether or not you have revisions. So depending on what you're offering, you may or may not want a revision, but in my case, let's say we'll offer one revision for each of the packages, words included. So you can actually tell them how many words. You must define a words included for all your packages. So I think it just wants me to. Yeah, so it wants me to include that in all of them. And then you can have how many focus keywords. So they know that we're writing articles. So usually when people write articles, they're focused on a specific keyword. So we would just say like one keyword, whether or not you can include research. So let's say no. You could include references and citations, data charts. So those are things you could do there. And then you can price these. So let's say we'll do 10 for that one and 15 for the 1,000. And then you can add all these extra. So you could do the additional words through an extra if you wanted to do that, or you could get creative, like this standard package could be including research and data charts and things like that, or maybe whatever it is that you feel like you could offer as a more valuable package. It doesn't have to be just words. I'm using this as an example. But generally, you have all these things here you can include. You could do extra fast delivery. You could do additional revisions, so you can charge extra money for those revisions. You can include Getty images, which is something that will be included through Fiverr. They have a partnership with Getty Images, so that's something cool you can just add in. Additional focus keywords, topic research, reference, so you can add all this stuff. And you can even do your own gig extra, so you could say, I will write a second article, or I will do whatever. So this is like a mini version of your original gig. And you can add as many of these as you want. You will be limited originally when you get started out as a seller. Once you get to the level 2, there's different levels. You will be somewhat limited on what you can offer. So I'm going to remove all these just so I don't have to fill all this out, but wanted to mostly show you what's here. We'll go with those, just 3 basic ones, and we'll do save and continue. And I'm just going to copy. Not going to make this live, so I'm not worried about the description. Now, this is really one of the most important places that you can really emphasize what it is your gig's about. Briefly describe your gig. They give you 1,200 characters, and what I would suggest doing is looking around at what other people are doing. I'm just going to put in a bunch of junk, but generally what I would do is when I fill this out, I would make this as descriptive as possible. You can use some bolding. You can use some highlighting. So we can make it pieces bold. I believe we can highlight. So you can make this yellow highlighting. You could do bullet points if you wanted to. I don't know why this is, it's giving me a hard time here. Of course, the editor, bullets too, and you can also do numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever if you wanted to. So you can play around with some of the formatting, and that's generally what you have. You don't have like a real extensive editor, but you can even add in an FAQ. So you could add what kinds of topics you'll write about, or anything that you feel would be relevant, just to answer questions right off the bat, so you don't have to get all these question and answer type stuff, people sending you messages. You could just offer this right up front, so people already know what it is that you're offering. And this is a nice way. I used to get questions all the time for some of my gigs, so it's a really great way to be able to add in, hey, here's some basic information about this in addition to what you're including here, because you may get people just messaging you, asking you questions. So this is actually something they added in. Really great way to, just put that in addition. I'm just going to kind of copy this a few times to get my word count up to 120. It has to be at least 120, which isn't a lot, as you can see, but you generally, I would say, shoot for probably like 500 to at least up to the 1200, depending on what it is your gig's all about. So we'll do save and continue. And now, as soon as someone orders the gig, they basically have the ability here to they'll get a message, like some instructions. So I have a gig where, for example, they order access to one of my courses. So I'll just tell them like, hey, just respond to this message and let me know that you ordered this, and I'll send you over the code within the next 24 hours or something like that. And you can make getting an answer mandatory. You could do multiple answer. You could attach a file. So maybe you could be sending them something like a form to submit, any requirements that you have, things like that. You could even ask them to upload a file. Maybe you're doing like a logo design or something and you want them to include an image, an example of what it is that they're doing. So for now, I'll just skip this because I don't have any requirements. And now another area you can really showcase your work is now you have the ability to add photos. You do want to make sure you own the images. Don't just go like steal stuff off the internet. They give you recommended dimensions and the image formats: JPEG, PNG, and you don't want to go over anything over 5 meg. I would highly recommend filling out every single photo here. If you only had one, see if you can come up with 2 others. And what I recommend is just doing something simple. It could be a thumbnail that says exactly what you're offering. It could be a photo of you. It could be anything that you feel is going to be relevant. You can also add a video. This is something that's really effective, and it's, as they mentioned here, guaranteed to boost your sales. If you add a video to the gig, it's going to give Fiverr more of a reason to feel like they can promote your gig and have it just sort of generally appear throughout. You'll notice that a lot of people that do create gigs, they don't have videos on their gigs. But if you're serious about making sales, then I highly recommend just doing an intro video. And what they actually like to see is that you put in a little note that says, in the video, you'll just say something like, I'm offering this exclusively only on Fiverr, and make that a point, because that way you're showing Fiverr that, hey, this is like a special thing I'm only doing here. I'm not offering this on my website or anywhere else, and you can get it right here on Fiverr. And then you've got the option to add some PDFs and stuff like that if you wanted to do that. I think this might actually be pretty new, but again, the video and the PDFs are optional. But the video, I do highly recommend you do that, because it will help. As they said, they literally state it's guaranteed to boost your sales. So we'll do save and continue. And I guess it's not going to let me, but from there, that's really all that's left. From there, you fill out all that information, you'll be able to publish it. So I'm actually going to I'm just going to back out of this, and I'll show you one of my completed gigs really quickly to give you an example. Selling my gigs. I'll actually show you one that did really well at one point that I no longer use. In a later video, I'll walk you through more of these in depth and just kind of give you an idea of, let's do paused. So if you decide not to run a gig, you can do what's called pausing it. So you don't actually need to, be running all your gigs all the time, which is a great thing. But I had this one here that did extremely well. Interview you about your success. So let's see if we can go in here. Preview. So here's my video. It was not super high quality. I only had one image that just said interview you about your business success. Here's my little bio, my photo of me. You could see over 800 people had favored it. It had 138 reviews. I delivered it within 7 days, and this was basically a gig where I offered to essentially do an interview on a blog that I have. I would put in some metrics about SEO because I figured that would help boost the sales, and it definitely did. I got over 100 orders on this, so this was one of my most popular. I decided to stop it because it definitely was taking up a decent amount of my time, and I just decided to stop. Then I offered some things like I could include an extra image or interview you on my podcast. I'll walk a little bit more in one of the upcoming videos about some of the gigs I'm doing now and just show you some of the simple stuff I have out there. But for now, that's really all you're going to need to know in terms of getting started and creating your gig. Okay, so in this video, I wanted to walk you through some of my different gigs. I'll just show you what I've got out there now and what I've done in the past. Pretty much just going to walk through a whole ton of these and explain how I approach gigs on Fiverr. So in my case, when I want to create gigs, I want something that I can deliver really quickly. I don't have to put a whole lot of time or effort or thought into it. If I do something like article writing, that's going to take time and effort. I have to sit there and write an article, do research, all this stuff that it just really, to me, isn't worth making a $4 commission on. I'd rather use Fiverr as a means to get people into some of my own my other platforms or things that I already have in existence, such as like video content or courses, PDFs that I have, things like that. So I'm going to show you some of my most popular gigs. I have a gig here, how to teach you how to podcast. So what I actually do is I teach on a platform called Udemy, and I've actually got a course in here. I'm just going to go to it. I've got over 28 courses, by the way, here on Udemy. What I do is I actually send them a free coupon for this course here on my Learn Podcasting. Right now it's not even public because I had to make some changes. Udemy didn't like a couple things, but I'm still able to provide free coupons for this course, and in exchange for like a $4 commission from my gig order. And I've gotten let's see, this is the last 30 days, so we'll do like the last 6 months. I've gotten 14 orders on that. So I've made $120, and literally all I'm doing is copying and pasting a coupon code. So it's a really, really easy way to make extra money off of something that already exists. I'm doing the exact same thing with this gig, show you how to get more SEO clients. I fulfill a gig where basically I have a whole course where I have videos where I walk them through this. So this is a really great way. If you have a particular skill or something that you've done, you could put it out there in a video course, or maybe it's a private video on like YouTube or something where you're explaining how to do something. That's a really great way to utilize some of these gigs. I have this other one here, show you how to build your Pinterest profile fast. And this one I've made over $1,000 from. And it is the simplest gig. Literally all I do is copy and paste a simple text message that says, here are my basic recommendations. Beyond that, here are some resources you can check out. And I share a couple PDFs that go through how to set up your Pinterest profile and pretty much everything that they need to know. So it's sort of evergreen. Pinterest doesn't really change enough that this is something I ever need to change. And I'm also going to show you in the next video some upsells that I include with this particular gig, where I can manage some of this and do extra stuff to make even more money. And then a lot of these, it's the same thing. Publishing a blog post on this business blog. I have this business blog out there. This one I generated over $500 with this particular gig. And literally all I would do is take the article. They'd have to provide it to me. I would not write it. They would provide it to me, and I would just post it in a WordPress blog. And I would get paid for that. So I made over $500 just publishing other people's content. And it takes me literally 2 minutes to go in, add some images, post the article, and then share the link. So that's a really, really simple one that, it's worth doing that considering the amount of money I've made. Some of the others I've done that I've had success with that do take more time, but in a sense, I still don't have to do a lot of work, is like this one where I'll interview, this is a specific genre of metal music. So I'll interview a band in the metalcore genre on one of my blogs. I have like a blog community around this niche. So I've made about $20 from that one. It's not super popular. But again, earlier I showed you my marketing one, which I made a lot with that. And the idea is you get other people to write, you send them a few questions, like 4 or 5 questions, and they'll write the answers for you. So you get a nice piece of content in exchange. Same thing, give you access to my SEO course, same as the others. Perform an in-depth SEO audit. This one I haven't really gotten a lot of orders. In fact, looks like I've gotten none. I haven't really been pushing this one too hard. You can see the visibility on it super low, whereas some of these other ones have like 20,000 or 70,000 plus monthly impressions over the last 30 days. But this one was like, I could just run a website through a tool, get a PDF, and just send it to them. So it's like really, really easy to do stuff like this. Had another one here to display a banner on my blog. I would just go in, take a banner, and upload it. So all this stuff, as you can see, it's all stuff that I can fulfill really quickly. It's nothing that's going to take me much time. I haven't really spent a whole ton of time coming up with others, but I'm sure that I could. I have many other courses as well where I could, just add in gigs and do some stuff on that angle. So I may actually do that because Fiverr does allow you to do up to 20 active gigs. So why not utilize that and, take advantage of it. In terms of some that I've paused, let's take a look here. I'm getting messaged on Skype. Yeah, this is the one that I've had the most success with outside of that. Revenues generated by this gig, interview you about your success on my DA29 blog, the one I just mentioned. So I've made about $1,000 from that one. Finding some quality keywords, that was something where I could use a keyword research tool. Sponsoring a website on my blog, I had a page where I would just basically throw up a link inside a page, and that would be like my sponsorship. This was one I sort of tried and never really got any traction. Another one, I was going to do some blog comments. That's something that really, in my opinion, takes time, so it's not something I wanted to keep up with. This one, I was giving out like a plugin for WordPress. I decided to stop that. Creating a local citation report for local SEO. That one I think I had running for a while. It just never got any traction. So there's a few of these that I've tried and failed. At one point I even tried doing like an article rewriting service, and some of these just will never pick up traction. That's sort of the nature of Fiverr. But I mean, if you do all the stuff to fill things out, you do your video, you do all these things to get it optimized, then I think that this can be very profitable. And as you can see, most of my revenues have been generated from gigs that really don't take me any time. Like this Pinterest one in particular has been super easy, to do this. If you ever need to walk away from Fiverr, you can also set the vacation mode. You could accept custom orders. But yeah, in the next video, I will show you some of the upsells that I do on this Pinterest one, as well as some of the upsells I do for some of the other course ones. I just offer to give away other courses. So like on this one, I might say I'll also give you access to my Amazon course, or on this one, I'll say I'll also give you access to my SEO course. So it's really easy, to offer some of these gigs and utilize existing skills or properties that you might have out there. Okay, so I'm here on my main dashboard, and I just wanted to give a little bit of insight when it comes to fulfilling orders. So in your main dashboard, you really have the ability to see anything that you have in your to-do list and any other notifications. So as of right now, I have a new message. One of my gigs requires some modifications before it can go live. So the Fiverr editor sent me a message on that. And then anything that's completed, you have this, how was your experience with the buyer? So this means these are done. They've left me a review, so I can go back and leave them a review. You also have a little bit of a snippet here. I've been sort of bad about my response rate here over the last 30 days, so it's kind of low at 36%. But you can also track the orders completed, and if you're delivering the orders on time. Obviously, if you're responding slowly and you're delivering stuff late, then that will affect the rate of how much your gigs are seen and the visibility. So this is all like into their rating score and algorithms of how they're going to sort of promote you on their platform. Generally, what you're going to find, in addition to all the other things we've done, when it comes to creating the gig and putting a really good description and all this other stuff, you're going to want to make sure your response rate and all this stuff is high. Again, I've sort of put Fiverr on the back burner a little bit for myself. It hasn't always been a huge priority, but I have been trying to get this score to be a little bit higher now that I've got a little bit more time to work on this stuff. Generally, when it comes to getting new orders, I'll just go in and show you something that recently sold for me and give you an idea of what I would do. So if I go to manage sales, you have anything that's priority, any new ones. These are orders that they never actually finished the order. You can see these are actually quite old. There's one in here from 2014. Anything that's currently active and anything that would have been completed, these are also the same old stuff. And then anything that would have been canceled, maybe they canceled it for some reason. They just decided they didn't want the gig. Whatever the reason, that's basically what these would be. If we go to completed, I'll show you, here's one here I did for my Teach How to Podcast. So I keep it super simple. They'll show the requirements. So here's my general message I send out. Just reply to this message. Let me know you ordered my gig. They responded and said, "Hi, I did indeed order your gig. Thanks, Mona." And then I get this order started. So there's now a countdown timer for the allotted time I've given for this particular gig. I think this one I do it within 24 hours. And I just simply respond back and say, "Here you go, and here's my coupon code with the delivery. If you guys want, if you're watching this course, feel free to go use that coupon code. I don't really care." But yeah, you can go check out. That's pretty much how I do my process of delivering my gigs. As you can see, there's really not much to it. It takes me literally a couple minutes to go grab the link, send them this, and I like to keep things in like a text file on my desktop so I can easily access them and just quickly fulfill the orders. And it's just kind of hands-free, very easy to fulfill, and not really much to it. Okay, in this quick video, I just wanted to cover leaving reviews. After you've gotten your orders fulfilled, one really great thing that you can do is actually leave a somewhat customized review. So here's one recently that I had. You'll get the "How was your experience with this buyer?" So this person actually ordered my Pinterest basic gig, and they also got my upsell with my video tutorials. So pretty much I have the ability here. If I just put the outstanding, it's by default going to leave outstanding experience. So this means this person didn't leave anything. But generally, I like to, unless I'm feeling really lazy, if I were to hit publish review, it's going to give them back the same outstanding experience. I could put in something more custom though. Thanks for checking out my Pinterest tutorials. And just keep it simple, like we don't have to go crazy here. Could say, "Glad you enjoyed it." So that's really all that you have to do. And that's something that when people are going to order your gig, I'll actually go in and show you. Let's see, view gig. So this is how the public would see it. And now you can see that a lot of mine, I've been doing the default outstanding experience. This one I said thanks. But here now, if someone were to come in here and look at the actual reviews, they can see that I'm responding with something a little bit more than just saying outstanding experience, outstanding experience, outstanding experience, which I've actually been doing for like pretty much all of them. So I've been a little bit lazy on this front, but this is something people visibly can see. So it's something good to keep an eye on if you're going to be leaving your reviews. Okay, so let's talk about how we can actually add some premium upsells to a gig. This is really the only gig that I have of all the ones that I'm doing where I'm adding some real premium upsells, but I wanted to give you an idea of how I've been able to profit with this and how it's worked out pretty well for me. So for my basic gig, what I do is I provide some basic guidance on promoting your Pinterest profile, which really all I'm doing is sending them a text, a blurb of text that I just copy and paste. It has a link where people can go download some PDFs off of my Google Drive. So the delivery is super easy. I don't have to do anything. On the standard, what I do is I actually include a Udemy course that I have where I've included basically over an hour-long course on tutorials for promoting Pinterest. So that's a really nice value add where I can charge an extra $20 for that. Typically on Udemy, some of that, you could sell for, there's coupons. Udemy will promote my course for like $10. So I'm making a nice little extra commission there on being able to just give away a free coupon with access to the Udemy course for that $20 upsell. And then another thing that I've been able to do is I actually have someone that's helped me with some of my own social media, and she basically is sort of in a way like a virtual assistant to me. I offered her a deal where I said, okay, for if you would like, you can manage the full Pinterest profile for like 30 days for this client. I'll pay you $75. So Fiverr takes a nice chunk of change from this. I think they end up taking about 20 bucks. So I probably profit about $20, and then she manages the account and makes the bulk of the payout here. And I just pay her manually through PayPal. So that's another idea, is if you have someone that you know, or you feel like hiring someone maybe like on Upwork, especially when it comes to social media offerings, this might be a really high quality upsell that you can offer. And I have had, I believe now, 3 or 4 people order this, and some people will come back like for a second or third month where, basically my assistant will go in and she'll just manage the account. They just give me the username and password, and I'll just have her go in. So I'm making money from this. She's making money. I'm setting her business, and then it works for everybody. So the client's happy. The person I'm working with is getting paid, and I'm getting paid, and I'm not doing any of the work. So that's ideally how I like to do things when it comes to some of these like premium upsells. So this just kind of gives you an idea, and you can see. I'll show you how I built this out. So you get the basic standard, includes a video tutorial showing you how to promote, same time delivery, and then manage your profile. We will manage your profile on Pinterest for you monthly. We pin new images and grow your account. So pretty straightforward. And then they gave you the ability to add in this campaign development, page optimization, social media posts. I put in 10, but we probably do way more than that. And then delivery time 29 days. So that's the highest you can do. Yeah, so that's pretty much just an example of how you might be able to do some packages. Just get creative depending on what you're offering. Try to think of things that you can do for these upsells, because this is where you can really start to make some nice money when it comes to Fiverr. Okay, so in this video, I just wanted to talk about how you actually get paid. It's really very straightforward. If you go up to your dashboard here, you got your selling section, and if you go to revenues, that's the page I'm on now. So you can see your total earned, how much you've withdrawn, and how much you've used to order other gigs. You'll see your current balance up at the very top right. You can see I've got $4 in available funds because I just made a withdrawal the other day. But generally, it does take some time for your gigs to actually clear and for you to actually be able to withdraw the money. I typically use a PayPal account. You can just link up a PayPal account, or you can get what's called a Fiverr revenue card. I believe I submitted for this, but never really ended up confirming it because I just figured I wouldn't use it. I might as well just send everything to PayPal. But they do have the ability, you can get kind of like a debit card where you could actually use the funds that you have available on this revenue card and just spend as you'd like. You can also do direct deposit, which is a new feature they just added, and you can send everything right into your bank account. So that's a really nice feature as well. Pretty much the way this works is, if you see, like, I'll show you this order here, it's still in the clearing process. It's going to take till about September 9th to clear. If I view this particular order, you can see that it originally came in on the 26th. So there's a give or take about a 15-day leeway time there, 15 days that you got to wait for the actual order to clear, and then you can withdraw the money that you made from that particular order. In this case, since they ordered $10 worth, they ordered 2 gig quantities. This one was a little strange. They just ordered twice for the same thing, and I didn't give them anything extra. I think they just wanted to give me a nice little bonus there. That basically ends up equaling out to $8 because Fiverr takes $1 for every order. So I end up profiting $8 from that. And then over time, once all of these clear, I usually wait for a bulk number of them to clear, wait for my funds to get up there. Like, for example, here was one where I did the Pinterest management, and I got $100 for that $125 upsell. So I waited for that and some of these others to clear, and that added up to like $164, and then I withdrew that into my PayPal. So pretty straightforward. Again, you're not going to get your money right away as soon as the gigs are ordered, but you can get an idea. Like, I've got an upcoming earnings of $12, and beyond that, there's just more money coming in. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to show you before we conclude the course is really what to look for when you're buying some of these gigs on Fiverr. If you're someone that's looking to buy other gigs, you really need to kind of keep an eye out. And the biggest thing, obviously, you can do is look at the reviews. That's really going to be the most obvious. But I did want to show you some things that I've actually purchased, and you can also add stuff to your favorites. If you go up to your dashboard here, you can go to your My Favorites from the drop down, and you can actually sort them by collections. So I kind of started to do this.